Jafar, thank you so much for taking the time today. I
It's a
look
pleasure to
forward.
be with you, Saurabh.
So again, fantastic growth in your organization. So happy to be a partner. But can you tell me a little bit more about the new platform? I mean, changes that you're making on CX, conversational AI. What are the components? I think our listeners would really benefit from it.
Thank you. Thank you, Saurabh, for having me. And it's an honor to be a partner of yours and Tech Mahindra. I'm really looking forward for all the things we can do in the partnership. So this platform, the platform that we have created at Unifor, is focused on conversational automation. Now, a conversation can be in a contact center space. Conversation can be between two people, like we are talking to each other over a Zoom call or a video call, or it can be between a doctor and a patient. Every conversation matters for us. And what Unifor is focused on is creating a platform and investing hundreds of millions of dollars in terms of providing solutions to productivity issues, providing solutions using AI to provide solutions wherein a coaching and guidance can be given while the two people are having a conversation. It can provide guidance. It can provide analytics, speech analytics, facial analytics, and multiple other things on the same platform. So let's reimagine the problem. The problem has been, and if we just focus on contact centers for a moment, the problem has been there was never a platform which could capture the human emotions, the human conversations on a real-time basis. And over the last 20 years, when both of us have been part of this organization, you only had a handful of levers to play around with when it comes to productivity. Okay, you can improve your processes a little bit, you can improve your hiring, you can improve your retention, but there was little that one could do when it came to general operations. Okay, because there weren't tools available, there was no platform, and we're trying to address that market. So if we can provide, as you, the contact center manager or the operator, what's happening in the call on a real-time basis. And AI using NLP is able to provide coaching and guidance to the agent on what next best action to be taken, what questions to be asked, and help provide, after call work summarization or trigger RPA actions in order to reduce the work which an agent is doing. You uncomplex the work, you untangle the complexity of the work, and which has effects on people retention, on hiring of people. Everything gets upstream and downstream gets solved. So that's the platform we are trying to solve. Ability to listen to every conversation, whether in contact center or otherwise. Ability to use NLP and AI, customize it for different industry, use cases which work for you, which might be different from one client process to another. That is what we're trying to do here, Saurabh.
Thanks, Jafar, for that fantastic summary of the platform. Now, in a world which is so tech frantic, if I may call you, I'm sure the platform has some great technical capabilities. So what are those tech features that you feel are good for today and will last for next 3-4 years, given the pace at which industry is evolving? There are a lot of developments that are happening almost every day.
Yes, Saurabh. So there are companies larger than us, smaller than us, and they're all investing huge amount of money in terms of creating innovation, and just as we are. But we have taken a very different approach in terms of solving some of the problems, because the real answers lie with the folks who are taking the calls, who are supervising the humans, the agents, the QAs on the ground. That is where the real knowledge, they are the ones who feel the real pain. So we are moving towards a low-code, no-code platform, wherein agents, the supervisors, the QAs, the trainers, the operations manager, the Six Sigma experts, the process improvement experts, they are the ones who can create automation as and when they feel the need of it. So we want to take this automation from complex coding to a simpler platform wherein folks on the ground can make changes and do automation, create workflows, create RPA bots whenever they feel the need of it. And once you bring in power to the folks who are in the trenches, the amount of automation and innovation that will come out will increase manifold. There would be less reliance on an IT. You can create connectors and adapters to various applications. So you're basically democratizing the power of innovation to the folks in the trenches. That is what we are focusing on.
Jafar, is so fascinating to hear. The whole idea of democratizing interaction, democratizing speech analytics, and that too going to the people in the trenches, the last mile. It's so fascinating to hear. Now, how do you do it? Will it be a point solution? Will it be an integrated platform? Or it's a conjunction working together? I mean, what are those key features that will enable this?
So we're moving away from just point solutions. Point solutions create a lot of problems. They tend to solve the particular issue which they're solving, but for a large organization or even a small organization, it creates a lot of havoc in the background. Okay. Because you have to integrate various solutions, you have to see that one solution is talking to another, the data is being is transferable. So a platform is trying to create anything and everything that is needed for automation in the conversation space to be there on the same platform. The idea is to train hundreds of thousands of low-code, no-code people, your subject matter experts who are there, the SMEs, that they should be able to do by the click of button automation and bring automation to organizations. And that is where partners like yourself, like Tech Mahindra, is going to be very important, because you are the ones who are actually in the trenches, taking those calls, driving some of those conversations with your end clients and with your customers on how to bring in automation. So the idea is to create a workforce which is industry specific or subject matter expertise, who can understand how the processes function, who understand the best practices which are there, and also democratize the innovation that we are doing by bringing in a low-code, no-code platform, and by training these resources so that they can identify opportunities. Because just merely providing a low-code, no-code platform or an easy-to-operate platform will not solve the thing. The question is, can you train your frontline staff so that from the day one, when they are in the training, or when they're taking their first call, or when they're taking their millionth call, they all know where the opportunities are, and they can bring in small little incremental innovations to the table, and that's the direction in which we are moving. Sorry, you're on mute.
Apologies. That's in the pandemic times, that's one word you learn very often. You are on mute, so commonly used terminology. So now the question that comes is, what will be the pillars that bring this to life? I mean, there are different kinds of users, people like us, people coming from actually business, guys coming from core tech. So what are those elements that will bring this platform to life beyond the technological aspects that we just talked?
So if we were to divide the users into 3 or 4 different categories, one is the subject matter expert who's there taking the call or reviewing the calls. One is that user. That is one pillar in which you have to train, you have to give them the power to do innovation. The second one are the ones who are actually doing the process design, the management of the contact centers, who are making the call, looking at the costing, looking at the productivity metrics. The third one is the folks who manage the IT part of it. They are the ones. So there are different sets of people, and there are different benchmarking and the different best practices which are available. So you create an an army of people who are experts in their relative area. Give them the tool set so that they understand. Understanding AI and NLP is still at a very nascent stage amongst the folks who are in these three categories. And IT folk might understand a little bit more. But the core pillar of this platform is that, can you bring innovation to these set of people who can understand where the problem statements might be and what is the kind of solution which is needed, and then give them the tools in order to make it happen. So that is what it is focusing. So let's look at an example over here. An example can be a complex process in which a credit card process in which you have to train for 60 days, 90 days. Can you cut the learning curve, okay, and give the agent the same power and the same knowledge as the ones who have been taking the course for 1 or 2 years? Can you make the life as simple as you can? So the clear principle over here is that you give them the power to do automation and give them the insights and the actions which they need to do or take on the calls, so that they don't have to look for an answer anywhere else. And once you are able to do that, then you solve a big problem which faces the industry, which is the high turnover, the high churn rate, the high attrition problem. So then you completely give the correct answer the first time around. And that is what the pillar is to have simplified platform, train a large number of people who are taking the course, supervising the course, and who are managing the IT in the background. And these three set of people actually go about doing the job and solving the real problems. So that it's not just a theoretical discussion, it becomes a more practical and an effective way of doing improvement.
And I would totally concur with you, Jafar. I've seen this through the installations that we have and implementations that are ongoing. It certainly brings to life these elements. The question still remains, like any other cutting edge technology implementation, where is the ROI? I mean, where do we call and we as business users put our neck in line and say, hey, Jafar, here is the maximum ROI. What do you see with your clients across the globe and beyond us?
So if we divide the call into various sections, okay, opening and greeting. Opening and greeting is a traditional way. You call, I greet you. Hello, Saurabh, how are you? My name is Jafar, how can I help you? Now, there's usually a standardized way of how openings and greetings are done, and which includes verification. I'm trying to verify you. Now, can voice biometrics play a part in terms of the amount of time which it takes to verify Saurabh, the customer, and understand? Can I predict Saurabh's question based on using the AI and preempt the need when he is talking to me? Can the virtual assistant transfer all the information which Saurabh was asking on the website before the call came to me as an agent, so that I have the full context of Saurabh, the customer, Saurabh's problems, the issues, and the possible solutions? If you're able to do that, then that verification part, the opening and the greeting part, can be cut down by almost 50 to 70% of the time. Today, most of the time, the agents start with a blank slate. They want to understand your problem. They want to figure out a solution and do all these things without paying attention to Saurabh, the customer. But with this platform, you are able to do all these things together at the same time. Now, as the call moves to probing, now the probing is if you have an idea, if you have predictive analytics, you have in which, based on the customer's profile, let's assume Saurabh, the customer, that like Saurabh ABC, his card got declined, so most probably the Saurabh is asking about why my card got declined. So using AI, you can preempt and possibly tell him that, hey, if you're calling about this, then this is the possible reason that, hey, maybe, your checking account doesn't have that much balance, etc., whatever might be the reason. But using AI, you can squeeze out a lot of these a lot of minutes which are wasted in trying to figure out where the answers might be or what the question might be. Those awkward silences go away. So every call, if you break it up like a loaf of bread and cut it in different slices, there is opportunity to shrink the amount of time which is invested. In any call center, the next step becomes solving the problem. Now, if the AI can provide the agent Jafar the solution which sort of the customer needs, then the amount of time which it takes to solve it, which is usually the bulk of the call after the probing, once I understand the problem, and you will go about finding different knowledge articles on what to do, how to solve the problem. Maybe it's hardware related issue, maybe it's whatever might be the issue, the type of the call might be, you cut it short. You reduce it by almost 50 to 70% over there. Now you move on to the next part of it, which is basically, the resolution part of it. You explain to Saurabh, you send him across a text, Saurabh receives the text, a confirmation that this is the resolution which has been provided. And similarly, the closing part of it, in which I notate the account, in which the call center agent doesn't have to do anything, and AI can notate the account. And if there is an action which is needed, like stopping a checkbook, issuing a new checkbook, etc., all that is taken care by the RPA bot. So every section of the call is full of an opportunity to reduce it by a significant part. Opening, verification, probing, solving, conclusion, notation, everything can be squeezed. An ideal call can be less than 50% of what is the accepted benchmark in today's contact center. And that's what the Unifo platform is focused on.
That's fantastic, actually. And
so you tell me, Saurabh, what are the typical problems that you see in which a contact center automation can make a material difference to the customer experience, and to the overall, financials of an account? What are the challenges that you see, or the case studies that you see in which a platform like Unifo can make an impact?
So let me, Jafar, talk from some real examples.
Yeah.
I mean, we have, as you are aware, have been experimenting with the actual business cases with Unifo, mostly around interaction analytics. As a part of our SEER conversational analytics solution, we are leveraging speech recognition, machine learning capabilities, voice profiling, you name it. And we are able to ingest data to organize calls. So we certainly are doing the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Now, where we are seeing the actual value is delivering very fast control checks. And I'm talking about a account I can't name, but it's a large chemical company based out of Europe. So very fast control checks using smart search, identifying hot points, automating compliance, etc. Then another big theme that came out was improving the overall customer experience by understanding sentiment, providing a holistic view of call quality. The third one, which was again, I believe might be a good ROI for me. Instead of doing some random audits, we are able to do audit for 100% of the calls. Now, still early days, but what we have seen is, at least for the calls related to compliance, we are talking an upward of 40 to 50% reduction. We are looking at, with 100% call audit automated, report generated, we are certainly seeing a reduction in work for our traditional human auditors. That's something that I have seen some real value coming out. Then, of course, the speech-to-text transcription, automatic speech recognition, all these provide a lot of value in the after-call work, where again, and maybe I'll pick up another, it's a telco out of US, where we are working and trying this out. Again, I have seen significant ACW reduction when I see this uses. So, at this point in time, I can say that basic accuracy check, all the compliance checks, ACW reduction, and of course, with the 100% quality checks, certainly the improvement in our customer interaction and customer experience is visible to us.
Fantastic. Yes, this is something we have seen with partners like yourself is that the amount of savings and the productivity improvements that it can bring to the table, not only which can be easily quantified in terms of the dollar amount, but in terms of the experience, it is changing the whole thing. Like for example, for a telco client of ours, so once the conversation gets over, we are sending across the same summary which is being notated into the account in the form of a text message. So the client knows, so the end customer knows that this is what was agreed, this is what was discussed, and which means the expectation is set in terms of what he or she can expect from that call. Meaning, if there's an action item which has come out of it, then they're informed of that action item. If there's no action item, and that sets the expectation, which is leading to let's say a far better customer satisfaction score and a better experience than they have had in the past. So yes, so definitely we have loads of use cases to address and a large number of industry verticals to and to solve problems for. But I think so we're making good progress as a partnership.
Absolutely. I mean, and then with usage of these technologies, slowly we can get to our aim of total experience that lies slightly above and beyond the customer experience is what
Right.
we are aspiring for.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So one question then. So as we talk of total experience, aspirations, where is the product evolving to? Or where is the industry evolving in general? What should we expect?
So what we are expecting is that the first point which I said, contact center is just one channel of communication. Every communication channel is important, whether you do it over a voice call or your video call or email or chat or face-to-face, you meet somebody at a doctor's place or at the hotel reception. The platform has to be flexible enough and strong enough to cater to all the needs, wherein the same guidance can be provided to a hotel receptionist, to a doctor or a patient, or to a contact center agent. So the platform has to move beyond just the definition of the contact center, or the definition of contact center has to encompass now every interaction which two human beings are having, whether I'm trying to sell to you or you're trying to sell to me, or whether a teacher and a student, in this COVID time is trying to address 150 students and you want to see what is the facial, reaction of those individuals when everything appears as a small thumbnail. All those things have to be brought in. The voice, the facial analytics, everything combined together in order to make the user's life, that is yours and mine life, a lot more easier. Now, that can be measured in the form of productivity, that can be measured in the form of upsell opportunities, it can be measured in the form of customer experience. All those measures have to be put in place. So the platform has to evolve in a direction in which every human conversation is getting captured, analyzed, and AI is playing a role in terms of guidance. That is where we're moving.
So that's fantastic to hear, actually. And then when we are talking of NLPs and, of course, every interaction beyond the contact center, I think that is where the true power of the solution will come to play. I would agree. Now, yeah. An obvious question then is, what are the new business models? I mean, one is, of course, so you already do SaaS, you already do platform, but what are the new business models of the future? Where do we partner? Go beyond 360-degree to the total partnership element.
Yeah, so if I was to talk about Tech Mahindra and Uniphone, just as two organizations, my vision of this partnership is that it has to evolve from just being a consumer and the other being a software provider. I want to move in the direction wherein you become my trusted power for implementation. You do some engineering work for us. We co-create new IPs. We go out in the market and try to solve different problems. We create a center of excellence around these platforms and some of the other technologies and innovations that you have developed in-house and bring it to the market, and which makes bring a lot of difference to what Tech Mahindra is doing against their direct competition. So the whole idea is to make this relationship, because we don't want to partner with all. Okay, we want to partner with a handful and give them the tools, but also work in creating new exciting products together, because you and your team are seeing the problems on a real-time basis on the ground level. And the idea is, can we learn from this? Can we bring everything together? And it has just not become about one person selling and the other person consuming, but it can be also about, can you make my life easier in terms of implementation? Can you create a center of excellence in which new ideas, new propositions come? Can you help us in engineering of new products and innovations that we're talking about? So that becomes a more wholesome relationship. And that's the direction of the partnership that we're hoping to take to.
That's fantastic to hear, Jafar. Truly, we are very much on path to making that total partnership. We really would love to collaborate in joint IP creation, new industries, and actually conquering new vistas together. So
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for this great briefing about the platform and the future of the industry. I hope our listeners benefit from this.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.